welcome back to the Red Ones Go Fast. I'm old Big Mek, and ignore Scruffy the janitor over there. We got work to do! That's right, it is time to get into another video, and indeed this one is a absolute special one. So for those of you that haven't been following along or don't know what I'm getting on about, late last year I decided to dive into a new army project. I got a hold of the Beastsnagga Stampede holiday box, which you see up there behind me, to expand my orc army. I have been building, painting, collecting orcs since like 1995 or something stupid like that, and I have a bazillion points of them, but I didn't really have any of the new Beastsnagga stuff. Now I did actually buy the Beastsnagga Army box set when it came out back in, what was that, 8th edition? I don't even want to go there, but anyways, I bought it, I sold the funky little nerf herder guy out of it, and then never touched it. It sat on my pile of shame ever since, because I wasn't quite sold on the whole feral orc thing. And then I started seeing Beastsnaggas in person, especially my buddy Ken. You know, we're boss Ken from the battle report that we did. He runs a bunch of Beastsnaggas, and they are really cool minis. Now, I'm a buggy guy. Obviously, I'm old Big Mek. I love anything with wheels, tracks, armored legs, that goes fast, you know, has armor on it. I want Mad Max with greenskins, right? And so I wasn't real sure about Piggly Wigglies until I saw that his Piggly Wigglies have V8 engines and tires instead of legs and stuff like that. And once I saw the bionics on all of the Beastsnaggas and then got in touch with the lore, which I have a video of right there somewhere, I really fell in love with them, and I really wanted to use them and to have them, but I still didn't quite get around to building or painting any of them besides one solitary beast boss that I had converted. Fast forward to the holiday battle forces, they announced the Beastsnagga Stampede, and it was everything I wanted. There were more Beastsnagga boys, there was more Squig Hog boys, there was another knob on Smash a Squig, there was beautiful Mazrog Scragbat himself, and there was the Kill Rig, and that's what we're doing today. So again, I've been working on this army since late December, and the whole premise has been, how long does it take a regular person to build a whole Warhammer army? And this is literally an entire army. Between everything I have, it's 1,500 points on the nose of entirely Beastsnagga stuff. And the answer is, well, it takes you about 2 months. There was, you know, December into January, and now January into February, but I've been saving the Kill Rig for last. I've done a bunch of videos in this series. You could actually go watch the whole series. Click on the main channel, and then it brings up the playlist. You can click the Beastsnagga Army Build playlist, go back to the beginning and watch all of them, because I covered building the Beastsnagga boys themselves, converting them because they're monopose, but not actually monopose, to show you everything about that. Doing the Squig Hog boys, and then Mazrog, and then I had a second one, so we actually built a Beast Boss and Squigosaur as well. And just, yeah, got everything ready to go. The Pain Boss, all of it. It's all built, it's all ready. The only thing left from the big box was the Kill Rig. Now, this video was going to take a while to film. I knew that because it's a very big model. It's kind of complicated. It actually builds into 2 different models. And I wanted to be able to switch back and forth between both easily and easily show you how to do that. So you'll notice I'll have a lot of wardrobe changes in this one because it's been filmed over a number of days, actually a couple of weeks to be honest with you. But as of now, today, in this filming, it is complete, and I'm so excited to show it to you. So grab yourself a red squig, throw on your best Red Ones Go Fast gear, and let's get into it. Bum, bum, bum. Ba-dum, bum, 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 bum. There she is, the Kill Rig in all of her glory. And again, this thing is absolutely massive. That base is the same size base used for a Morkanaut or an Imperial Knight. There is Mazrog Scragbat next to it. He barely comes up to the second of the 4 levels. It's just bananas how big this thing is. In fact, a Leman Russ battle tank is completely dwarfed by it. You could put 2 Leman Russes in a row to get the same length. It's just so stinking big. I'm not joking either. Look, this thing's bigger than me head. This is truly a centerpiece display model, complete focal point of your army. It just doesn't get any crazier than this. All right, I'm going to get into the build of it now. So now you're just going to start cutting in with all of the older clips that I filmed, putting this together, and then I'm going to cut back to now so that I can explain what's going on. We got Beastsnagga boys. We got more Beastsnagga boys. We got Squig Hogs. We got Knobs on Smashes Squigs. We got Pain Bosses. We got Beast Bosses. We got Beast Bosses on Squigosaurs. We got Mazorg Scragbad. But what do we not have? A centerpiece. Alright, now I know I'll be doing all the intros and outros and stuff at a later date, so this is actually older Big Mek than you just saw. Something like that. I can't do math backwards, but anyways, I wanted to show the start of doing the kill rig. So this is what it looks like when you finally get it all unboxed, and it is absolutely massive. You've got 2 full-size frames and 1 half frame just for this model. The pieces are downright massive, and look at that base. You could put an entire squad on that base. And not some pansy guard squad or something either. Those are Beastsnagga boys on 32mm bases, and you can see there's room for more. Now the coolest thing about this kit is that it's actually 2 kits in one. It is both the kill rig and the Hunta Rig, and you can see with the Hunta Rig you've got your Werboy separate. He goes on his little base up there to ride on it, but you put the kind of big cannon there, and then the one with the chain up there. For the kill rig, it's just backwards. Those mount in the other places. You just kind of move them forward, and the Werboy goes in the tower. Now there is a way to make this be able to do both, where these can just come out and in, so that you can run both, and that's what we're going to be doing. There's also a quite infamous issue with this area here that doesn't actually line up. You know, you don't do it to the instructions because that would be wrong. And so I hope to show you all of those tips and tricks with a successful build of my own, because this is the only one I've got, and I need to be able to make it do both, depending on what I want to do with my army. So I want to get this right so that I can share it with you, so that when you build your kill rig / Hunta Rig, you can do the same thing. Alright, let's do it. Alright, I got the Squiggy done, and this is the biggest chubby potato I have ever seen for Warhammer. Just to give you an idea, that's a Squig. That's a Squig Hog Boy. That's a Knob on Smash a Squig. That is a Squigosaur. And that is the Squig for the kill rig. I mean, just look at it. Now there's a few unfortunate things about it. All of the armor on the head here and the upper shoulders is all molded into it. So is the chin guard. So this right here, the main Squig is 3 pieces, the 2 body halves and the tongue, and then you've got the 4 little legs. And really it's 2 feet on this side, and then 2 legs on this side, but it makes it really hard to convert or do anything with. Even if you have spare parts like the mechanical leg from the Knob on Smash a Squig, you'd really have to cut and splice in order to use that in any kind of shape or fashion that would work. And you could see it's all super molded in. So this left rear leg is about the only one you could really do, maybe the left front a little bit. The long and the short of it is, if you're like me and you don't like having 2 identical models on the tabletop, this one's going to be really difficult. That's why you see so many conversions for kill rigs that have something other than the Squig up at the front. Alright, we are continuing to work on our kill rig setup, and ran across something new that I can show on a Games Workshop model, but is very common in other models. So when you are building plastic models, you have these mold lines. That's this straight line right here where the 2 pieces of the mold come together, and you have to clean those. You also have these little nubbins here from the sprue gates where you clip the sprues off that you have to clean. Those are all fairly normal. This new thing is right here. You see this extra plastic in between the wheel hub and the frame on that side that doesn't exist on this side. That is called flash. Now, flash is actually really common in the scale model world, especially older model cars. As the molds age, they don't quite come together all the way, or a little bit too much plastic is injected into the mold and it seeps through the gaps and it creates this flash. It's not a big deal. You trim it off with a regular sharp X-Acto knife. You can get it all off, no problem, but it's definitely something to look out for. And it's odd to see this on a Games Workshop product, let alone on a fairly new sculpt. Kill Rig only came out, what, 3-4 years ago?
So again, you just take your X-Acto knife, you get in there in between the flash and the model. You should have to use barely any pressure at all because it's very, very thin. In fact, you can see the thickness right there. I can't even really focus on it. It's so thin. So not a big deal to clean off. Same thing with that. You just trim it. The tech tip is basically a sharp, nice new blade as you can get.
All right, I've run into the next issue, and that is this big piece right here, which is the main mast. It runs up from the wagon up for the back tower. It's so large that it is actually warped. So when I glued the parts together, I actually had to like rubber band it together to get them to glue together and stay straight and level. And you can see I've had to do quite a bit of sanding to it to get it flat and level. So when you get into these larger pieces, you definitely want to dry fit. You definitely want to take a look and see if anything is getting warped at all, so that you can get it nice and straight and level before gluing it all together. All right, another day, another old Big Mek here, and we've definitely got to talk about the fitment on one particular part of the Kill Rig. And that's this thing right here, the tower here that goes into this pipe. The fitment down there is garbage. I grabbed my pointy tool so I could show you. You can see the cut line right here. The top half of this is part of this. The bottom half is the trailer. The vertical piece here is part of the top, and then these are part of the trailer. So you're trying to sandwich this in between this and this on both sides. The problem is there's way too much material on both for it to actually work. I actually had to shave and cut at least 1 millimeter worth of material total out of all of the pieces combined, and it still doesn't really fit down all the way. In fact, if you look from this side, you could see quite the gap right there that still exists. This should have been flush. And frankly, the side with the tubes is even worse. You can see that terrible gap there. The problem is it's fully seated where the seat part goes on the column and those 3 hoses. So you'd have to start trimming a bunch of other parts in order to get those to fit down all the way. It took an absolutely massive amount of dry fitting this, and I broke the steering wheel off multiple times in order to get it to go. So be very careful and very aware when it comes to getting that piece on the Kill Rig. Now, that being said, we are to the point where you need to make a decision. Here in the instructions is where it has you swap for Kill Rig or Hunta Rig. So from now on, we're going to divert from these instructions so that you have the ability to run both. And just so we're clear on what is glued and what isn't, this trailer is all glued together. I even put the driver in there and everything. I didn't want to deal with it. This is all one piece. I left it off of the squig for now because I do want to paint the squig and I want to be able to get in there and stuff, which means the 2 pieces that come off of his hindquarters there are not glued on yet. Those are going to have to come later during the painting process. Now, you have the missile launcher with the chain separate. You have the ginormous thump gun turret separate. You have your 2 riders and your Werboy. So what we're going to do now is build the rest of the pieces and not glue them to the actual rig so that I can show you how you can hot swap back and forth between them in order to make this both. Now these Outrider guys, they're used on both in the same spot, so you can go ahead and glue them on. I'm leaving them off for painting so I can paint them, and then I'll glue them onto the rig when it's all finished. But you don't have to do that, but these guys are going to be the same no matter what, so you can go ahead and put those off to the side. Same thing with the turrets. We're not actually going to change anything on these, and they're going to continue to use their factory attachment points here on the bottom. So go ahead and put those off to the side so that you can paint those as well. The Werboy is going to be where it gets interesting. In order to make the Kill Rig, you mount him inside this day.
and then he stays there. In fact, you can see there's little spots of his feet there, and you glue him in, and that is that. But then you can't use him on foot as a war boy. So that's going to need to be one of the first things that we solve, because he rides on a 32 millimeter base. I think the easiest thing to do is actually going to be to put a magnet in his foot, and put a magnet in the day, and then put a magnet on a base so that you can pop him off of the base onto the day, and then when you want to put him on a base, you can smack him back on, no problem. So it costs you 3 magnets, not a big deal, and pretty simple. Alright, you back? Alright. How'd you like that so far? It's a lot of building. It's a lot of finickiness. You could see there were fitment issues, there's instructions issues, and yeah, and then you get to the end and you have to decide which of the two to do, and it doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. So let me break it down for you. Basically, it all comes down to this piece right here. The difference between a kill rig and a hunter rig is basically where you put the guns and what you do with the warboy. Now, you can glue him to this little day and then he's stuck in there forever. But the smart money would be to put a tiny little magnet in one foot, put another one in the day, and then one on a base so that you can pop him on and off the 32 millimeter base. So when you want to have one on foot, he properly goes on the base, and when you want him on the day, he can just snap into the day. And I will be doing that. Now, as far as where it goes on the kill rig itself, the design here is actually really smart. You see the gun platforms, they all have this peg on them, right? And it's the same size on all of them, including the day, even though that one's done a little funkily. And they all go into the same receptacle size. So you see there's one here on the back tower, one here on the middle, and one here on the front. Now what the instructions have you do is, if you want to build the kill rig, they have you glue this one here and then glue this one in the middle. And then if you want to build a hunter rig, you glue this one off to the side so that there's room for guys to stand around, because you're going to put the smaller gun up at the front, or not have a gun up at the front. So it's kind of weird, kind of funky how they do it. And what I decided to do, what the easiest thing to me is to still glue this one on, because look, you can put a 32 millimeter base up here super easily, which that's what the warboy is. In fact, you could put, a couple of them on there, no problem, without, interfering with that. And then same thing down here with it off to one side, you could put a whole figure on, no problem. Now, obviously, you don't need to put all 10 guys on here. No transport actually holds the number they're supposed to, but you do want to be able to put at least one guy on to show that it is transporting. And with the kill rig being able to transport a bunch, I like to be able to have at least 2 spots, so I could put one like Beastsnagga boy, and then one leader. So if the beast boss on foot wants to lead everybody, he can actually fit up there, no problem. You can see he goes over the top of that little thing just fine, and even with me wiggling him around, he doesn't really come out of the day. So you put him there, throw a Beastsnagga boy there, and now I'm showing that my whole squad and the air attached leader are indeed on my hunter rig, no problem. So that now allows you to switch back and forth between kill rig and hunter rig depending on what you want to do. So you can, again, you could put this one on this mount, you could put it on that mount, you could put it on that mount. In fact, there's not actually even really anything saying that they've got to be on any one particular mount as long as you have them. So I like the look of the bigger one up here. It's definitely very orky, although obviously when you don't have the big tower going, throwing him in the middle or something is pretty cool. The one with the harpoon on it, same thing, looks pretty cool up there just because he's got the big harpoon, but I like him up front. I think that again is very orky looking, especially you put the two together. So if I'm running a hunter rig, that's more than likely the way I'm going to make it look. But again, you don't glue these in, and you can move them around however you see fit in order to change up what your rig looks like. And again, that goes for the day as well. So you want to put this thing on, obviously it can go up top, no problem. But you could also put it down lower if you want. You could put it in the middle and have the warboy there. And if this was in the middle, you could even put it on the front. Although with me putting it all the way off to the side like that, I negated doing that. But, all the photos of the kill rig have him in back, and he is kind of the focal point of
what's going on with this contraption, so no problems there. And again, you can glue them on there if you want, and then still be able to go back and forth between Kill Rig and Hunta Rig. You just wouldn't be able to use them as a Warboy on foot. And anytime you can ensure that you've got different uses for your units, it's worth going for, because it's a whole model I don't have to buy if I want to run a Warboy on foot and not run a Kill Rig. So I will definitely be putting the magnet in him and doing that. The only other thing you'll see is I don't have the Outrider guys glued on yet. They just go here on the side on the little trailer. So I have them off so I can paint them before gluing them on, because they're super easy to do that. So I do have those two Beastsnagga boys. And then you'll see I don't have a Squiggy Piggy put on there yet. Now these were the little turret things I was talking about earlier that are very unclear in the instructions. Just ignore the instructions and glue them into the pig how they're supposed to go, into the squig. You can see like that. They are level here in the back with the little pegs sticking up and even. And what they do is they actually slot into this thing. But if you wait and you build this all as one piece and then him all as one piece, it's a lot easier to plop them in there and get them at the right spot. And then set him down on the base, and then he is nice and even and good to go. So that is the trick on those. Don't glue them to the trailer at all. Wait till you're all done. When everything's done and painted, then you could have the piggy on the base, the squig on the base, and throw the trailer on there, and then your connection is boom, done, and it looks fantastic. And that is all the secrets to the Kill Rig / Hunta Rig for the Beastsnaggas. All right, into bonus time, though, because we talk about this a lot. This entire army build is what happens if you want to build two, what happens if you want to convert a little and have them not look exactly the same. Well, the Kill Rig's a little tough. It's got these outrigger things on it that kind of go up and down, and this one is molded in with some terrain. Now, you could cut all the terrain off, but it's still going to have all the suspension compressed and stuff. So that makes that a little difficult. Obviously, cut the terrain off and replace it with some different terrain would be a way to go, but realistically, you're kind of stuck with it. Same thing with the squig. We talked about this earlier. All of this armor on his head is all molded in. The only thing that you glue on are these shoulder pieces, and frankly, there's like kind of a big square hole underneath them, so you really have to put them on. You could totally put different ones on, or like, you know, modify them or stuff. But you are going to get this pig in, or this squig in this setup. The other thing is his little legs do, you know, you have the ability to like put a mechanical one on there. But man, you're really going to have to work hard to kit bash this. Again, I figured out that the Sentinel leg, the old school Sentinel from Imperial Guard that was just discontinued last year, is the same size as this leg. So, you know, if you could make one of those up cheap, you could at least make a mechanical leg on him. As far as the trailer itself and all that stuff goes, I really don't think there's a whole lot you could do. I mean, obviously you could cut off the little thingies that hang or glue extra trophies on, change them around. The drivers and the gunners, their bodies are pretty well set for what they're doing because they're very much molded into that position. But the heads are the same multi-part head connection that all of the regular Beastsnagga boys and Squig Hog boys are. So you could totally swap out the heads for some of the other regular heads, no problem, if you wanted a little bit different head look. But again, you're stuck with that pose and that arm unless you really want to break out the big saw and get crazy. Same thing with the Warboy. You can't actually do a whole lot with him. There is Warhammer Underworld's guy that totally looks like the Warboy and is the same size and the same shape and all that. And you could totally clip him off of this base and stick him on there if you wanted a different looking Warboy. But you really should add a backpack to him. You can see here the real Warboy has a backpack with quite a lot of mechanical and electric gubbins on him and wires that go up to his head. So if you want this guy to look correct, you really gotta muck him up a bit. Be a Big Mek and throw some cool things on him to make him actually look right. As far as the days itself, all the little skulls and things glue on separate, so you could totally put different skulls on this and make it really cool. You can get, you know, some great big giant horns and throw them on there and stuff, and just kind of convert away. In fact, I still might do a little bit of converting to this because it's still not quite cool enough in my book, so I might add some gubbins to it. As for the guns themselves, same thing. There's a few parts to glue on them and stuff, but realistically, you're going to have to start really hacking and slashing to make them kind of look any different. But you also don't want to stray too far from the basic shape so that your opponent knows what weapon it is. Same thing with the Outriders themselves. You can see they are armed very differently than your regular Beastsnagga. They've got the much longer two-handed poleaxe arm thingy that is carried by the knob on Smash-A-Squig. So, you know, realistically, you can't use these in the actual Beastsnagga Boys squad. And again, their arms are kind of chopped into their bodies. They're a little monopose, but you can change their heads pretty easily. So then what's my final verdict? If you want a second kill rig / Hunta Rig, should you just get a second model and go for it? Well, yes and no. If you're okay with it being substantially similar, it's fine. It really is fine. You can also get super creative and just leave the whole squig out and put something different under there, whether it's a buggy or a team of grats or you know, a sentinel or whatever. You could put something different under there and make it work with the trailer. But most of the really cool original ones I've seen combine another kit with it. The most popular is an Age of Sigmar pirate ship thingy, which looks totally awesome. But as far as scratch building it, you're not really going to get there. The thing is so big and has so much stuff on it. I think the best way to make a second one is to still start with the same kit, even if you're going to completely change the design and use something like that pirate ship. Because at least then you can get the right guns and put them on there for the turrets. You can get, you know, the right number of Beastsnagga boys to put on there. You can get the little saw thingies that are on the side and stuff. And then all the bits that are left over that you're not going to use from the kill rig itself will actually make fantastic conversion fodder, right, for the rest of your orc army. You got basically half a truck there once you get started hacking up the trailer. Or you can get super creative, mount it vertical, and make yourself a Gorkanaut. Like, really, the sky is the limit as far as when you really get the big saw out and get hacking and slashing. But for me personally, I think I would just get a second of the same kit and then just change the big squig and then change everyone's heads as basically the only operating change. Because I think that enough would be on the battlefield, would be enough to like, oh yeah, the one with the squig is the kill rig, and the one being towed by, you know, the bantha is a Hunta Rig, or whatever the case may be. So yeah, that's what I would do. All right, that's gonna do it for this episode. I hope you all really enjoyed going through the kill rig / Hunta Rig with me, learning all of its quirks and features, and being able to really dive into the kit, fix all of its problems, and make it work as both pieces so that you can save some teeth. If you liked this video, I would super appreciate it. If you gave it a like, did a subscribe, threw a comment on, it really helps out. I don't know if you have noticed this, but in YouTube as a whole, creators are really struggling. YouTube keeps changing the terms on AdSense. They keep making the ads longer and unskippable, which drives viewership away. And people that are that this is their main deal are really struggling, closing up shop and having to go elsewhere or just stop creating altogether. We really want to stem that flow. Now, this is not my day job, so thankfully I'm okay there. But basically anything you could do to help the algorithm out, anything you could do to help creators out is super duper appreciated by all of us here in the community that want to keep this going. So yeah, if you want to take part in any of that, you can click on my links in the description below. We have a Discord server that's totally free and actually has like one of the best buy, sell, trade sections I've ever seen. We've had 100% awesome rate from everybody on board. It's been really, really cool. There's also supporting me on Patreon, which is fantastic because that gives you access to my bits service program, which is something super cool where if you are a paying Patreon member, you can order custom bags of bits, either unsorted or fully sorted for whatever you desire, and old Big Mek will personally pick those out for you. We also have our merch at our Teespring store. You can pick up our shirts or get yourself a nice sticker. All right, my fellow Beastie Boys, I've rambled on long enough. I've sniffed enough glue. Not really, we don't do that here. But it is definitely time to get going. I really, really enjoyed this army build. I really enjoyed making this series for you. I can tell you it's not done yet. I do still have one more squad of Beastie Boys that I purchased, again, through my little Discord section there, and I'm going to be converting those up heavily, and that will be the last piece of my force. And then later on in the spring, we will actually paint this entire army, and we'll do a series of videos on that as well. So, Beastie Boys, until next time, Wagon!